Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Power Vacuum. I'm your host, Belmont, and today I'm going to be talking about something that I hope isn't true. Got this article from Phantom Wire. BioWare devs were reportedly so burnt out they wanted one game to fail to make the studio realize this isn't the right way to make games. BioWare's development hell made developers wish that one of the studio's most successful titles was a failure instead. All right, well, I haven't read this yet, but that's Cassandra, I believe. Uh, I want the summary. At one point, BioWare was hailed as the king of gaming industry. Seriously, the studio's legendary single player and RPG games brought an element of uniqueness and innovation that no one in their wildest dreams could have ever expected. However, BioWare has been in a rough spot in recent years. The studio's recent titles, such as Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem, have proven to be massive failures. Is that a play on words there? Why isn't BioWare making good games anymore? Well, it's due to the fact that the studio's developers are burnt out due to horrific working conditions. Things got so bad at one point that the developers hoped to see Dragon Age Inquisition fail so things could change. Mm, hor- so that let's try to get through this article before I lose my mind. A few years ago, Kotaku published a report that supported what many gamers had thought for some time. Throughout the entirety of Anthem's development, BioWare was having an identity crisis, technical difficulties, and internal conflicts. The article took input from over a dozen designers who worked on Anthem and revealed that there was a stressful environment at the studio. It was in these horrific conditions that a major chunk of Anthem was stitched together in the final 12 to 16 months. It wasn't just Anthem that came alive during its final stretch of development. Even Dragon Age Inquisition faced similar challenges. While the game turned out to be decent, one of the ex BioWare developers wished that that hadn't happened. Oh, I hate when they do that. That we've always heard about the so-called BioWare magic. What it really means is that it doesn't matter how long a game's production can be, things always come to fruition in the final months. It happened with the Mass Effect trilogy, Dragon Age Origins, and Inquisition. Notice they didn't cite Dragon Age 2 there. However, it's shocking that EA didn't realize that this strategy wasn't sustainable. After the high profile failures of Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem, the development team doesn't believe the attitude is working. This attitude, the attitude, and there needs to be some sort of shakeup. It had been a long while since BioWare visited the Dragon Age franchise, so gamers were excited to get their hands on Dragon Age the Veilguard. The title was supposed to be the studio's comeback story, but things didn't really go that way. According to EA, Dragon Age The Veilguard failed to meet sales expectations by a whopping 50% and only managed to ship 1.5 million copies. These figures aren't really shocking, as the community was divided over Veilguard. While it boasted good character and gameplay, its overall story was terrible. Did it have good characters? Did it have good gameplay? Now, I will interject this. I didn't play The Veiled Guard. I had no interest in it. When they completely redesigned the Canary yet again, only instead of them being these awesome badass things, they looked like effectively whiny bitches. I was out. Out. Like the first game, okay, they hadn't fully established who the Canary were. They were working on it. They said he had a defect, and that was why he was alone, not with other Canary. That's why he looked different, why he lacked horns. The second game established the Canary for what they really are: big, giant bull people with horns and very prominent muscular structures. And then Veilguard came out, and they were like, "Just right in the trash. We're gonna make them like." There's this movement in fantasy right now where they're trying to humanize non-human races to the extent that they just basically make them humans with different skin colors, right? Tieflings aren't supposed to be humans with tails. Qunari aren't supposed to be humans with horns. These aren't just supposed to be the thing. Like orcs aren't just supposed to be humans with tusks. They're their own species, their own races. They're supposed to have their own characteristics. And when you make everybody a human with just slightly different appearance, nobody's special anymore. Everybody's generic. I didn't like the characters' designs. I didn't like their attitudes, the way they were portrayed in Veilguard. The story was terrible. It forced modern day politics into a fantasy setting. And whenever you force any type of dated time period politics into something, unless it's a period time game set in that era, it doesn't make sense and it won't age well. But I digress. According to EA's CEO, Andrew Wilson, the Veilguard failed because it didn't feature a live service approach. Wrong. Fucking live service, man. This is why EA is the worst company ever. Ever. I don't care what people say Blizzard has done. I don't care what people say whatever Notch has done. Is that the guy who did Minecraft? I think it's Notch. Hey, all these people talk about these companies, oh, Ubisoft and all this. No, EA, top dog, evil contender, right there. Like James Bond villain levels of evil. Fucking, it didn't have a live service approach. Right now, there's a ton of games and companies trying to get away from live service because it didn't work. WB Games and Rocksteady, whoop, out the door. Live service isn't what they want anymore. That's a take you can only expect for a company like yes, a company like EA because clearly it didn't manage to look at the success single player games can achieve when done right, as proven by Larian Studios with Baldur's Gate 3, as proven by all of BioWare's history. Look at Mass Effect. Look at the original Dragon Ages. Look at Knights of the Old Republic 2. Knights of the Old Republic 1. Look at these single player games that did excellent. I mean, Knights of the Old Republic is considered the best Star Wars game by the majority of Star Wars gaming fans, right? Look at Skyrim, single player game, massively successful. Look at the Fallout franchise, single player games, massively successful. In fact, the Fallout game that has done the worst is the one that's not single player, Fallout 76. So, this person is smoking rocks and needs to be relieved of duty and kicked out of EA and out of gaming and entertainment forever. Never allowed back in. What's worse is the game's failures led to the restructuring of the studio. The Veilguard's lead writers and many other crucial developers at BioWare got fired. I mean, as far as I'm considered, BioWare died when all of the uh, creators of BioWare walked away from the company. According to the studio, this won't affect the development of the upcoming Mass Effect game. Really? How is that not going to affect the development? Did you already have an entire team dedicated to not doing anything else but Mass Effect? And you still have that team? That seems a weird statement for them to release. That seems like a CYA statement. Like, no, 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 no. Mass Effect's going to still be good. With that said, do you think Bioware is beyond help? Maybe, maybe. I'd have to do more digging, but yeah, they might be beyond help. But yeah, you know, hoping a game fails is not how you get your way because the only thing you get is fired. That's not going to change the company. If you really want to change the company halfway through development, you need to coordinate with your fellow coworkers and all make the same demand or all take a hiatus or all call out sick and be like, this will continue to be a problem until you improve things because you're certainly not going to fire everybody halfway through the game and then bring in a bunch of new people because they're not going to understand the software. They're not going to understand what was going on. They're not going to understand the story, the characters, who knows what kind of sabotage or anti-firing fail safes may have been put into the code. Someone might delete the code on their way out and just be like, oops, it was an accident. I didn't do it on purpose, so you can't hold me culpable. But this is, yeah, working for a game development company, no way is that as fun as you think it is. because there's so many horror stories from every company. Maybe in the mid to late 90s, that was the peak time to work, but it just seems absolutely ridiculous that they would do this. Save that image. I like that image. I've never even seen this image of Inquisition before. Might make that my new background. Shit, I might make that the thumbnail. But yeah, I don't know. I hope this is just like conjecture from a couple of employees spewing some hyperbole. I really hope they weren't wishing for their own company's demise. Because when you want a game that costs millions and millions of dollars to fail, you are asking to be fired, as like what happened with Veilguard. They're like, hey, this game didn't do well. You're gone. Get out. So you don't want your game to fail ever. And if this is the case, these people need to be blacklisted from gaming, along with this ridiculous CEO who thinks lack of live service is the reason. What was your name? Andrew Wilson? Get out. Get out of gaming. Get out of the entertainment industry. Take your severance package and never come back, because we don't need that in this world. Like, gaming needs people who are dedicated to making games that make the customer happy, that are for gamers, not some niche crowd, not some small group of population. Everyone anywhere should be able to play this game. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Everyone anywhere. You should be making a game for as many people as possible. Now, you can't make a game for everyone, because a game for everyone is a game for no one. I do believe that. And you don't want to make a game that's for 1% of people. You don't want to make a game that's like, yes, this game is targeted at the diaper wearing furry crowd. You don't want that. You want your game that's like, hey, do you like RPGs? Come play our game. Do you like action adventure where you can explore a world, a semi-open world, not a true open world? You are led down the path some ways. Come play our game. Do you like completely open world? Come play our game. You need generic things to attract people. But yeah, I just read this story and I was like, well, I didn't even read the story. I read the highlight, the headline, and I was like, I gotta delve into this. And I just now read it on camera. I hadn't read it yet, but man, I hope it's not true. And if it is true, I hope they find these people and I hope they blacklist them from making games, because this is absolutely the wrong way to go about exacting change. But that'll be all I have for this video. This has been Belmont, signing off.